Hi and welcome to the Happy Families podcast. Life is full of tricky questions, and every Tuesday on the Happy Families pod we answer your tricky questions so that you can make your family happier. Today we're talking about quote unquote irrational fears. 8-year-olds who won't do simple things because they're terrified of life. If you've got a child who has fears of the monster under the bed, the ghost in the cupboard, or doing anything without you being by their side, this is the episode for you. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every single day. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. And if you have a tricky question for us every Tuesday on the pod, we answer them. All you have to do is go to happyfamilies.com.au, scroll down to the podcast section, press record, start talking. It's a super simple system and we love to hear from you. Today, a question, a tricky one from Emily, who asks the following.
Hi, my 8-year-old has big, sometimes irrational fears. He's afraid to be alone, even if it means just going to the other side of the house, which is within earshot by himself. I want to help him become more resilient and independent, but I'm struggling to know how to do this when he won't even go to his room to get a book or a toy that he wants unless I go with him. How can I help him?
I wish Emily was on the podcast because I would love to ask her a million questions about her little boy and, you know, when it started and how it started and whether or not it's an irrational fear or if it's more about just wanting to be close to mum. Like there's so many different nuances to the question.
Well, as I listened to the question, I wrote down about 700 things. I haven't written so fast, so I've got a lot to say on this one.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I know. How about if I just get going and you can just jump in and talk all over me as we go? The first thing that I want to pick up on is the word irrational. So make no mistake, the fear is real for this 8-year-old. It may seem irrational to you as a grown-up because as a grown-up, you don't get frightened walking to the other side of the house. But for this little guy, he does. So therefore, the fear is rational. It's real. And there's this understandable striving that we have as parents that our children will become independent and resilient. But the great irony is the harder we push it, the faster we try to force it. Like if I'm trying to force you to become independent, I actually terrorize you and make you more anxious, which increases your dependence. Force creates resistance. The more I try to make you independent by leaving you to do things independently, the more frightened you become of being left on your own, and therefore the more reliant and dependent you become on me.
I remember having a conversation with someone one day and they said, we've determined that the kids aren't allowed to date until they're fully toilet trained.
Yes.
And
so far, we haven't shared notes because I was scribbling my notes down. But that's where I'm finishing today's podcast.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. You take my line anyway. You didn't see. Finish the thought. I think it's a really important one.
And at the time, I was grappling with a 2-year-old who just couldn't get her head wrapped around what it meant to do a wee in the potty.
Yeah.
And it was driving me crazy. But I'd also been through it multiple times before and know that at some point everything clicks into place.
Yeah, like you're not allowed to date until you're toilet trained. Like eventually they're going to be motivated to go on a date and say, all right, I'm going to have to start using the potty, right? Eventually it's going to work out.
Eventually.
Emily, we don't mean to mock your sons and your very real struggle here. But the first thing that I wrote down when I listened to this, other than irrational and question marks and circled the word, was that resilience is relational. And what I mean by that is we develop a sense of resilience not by being independent, but by knowing that we have people who've got our back, people who are nearby that we can lean on, people that we can rely on.
And then we know we don't have to do it all on our own. Like the idea that I have to do it all on my own when it feels so big, overwhelming and all-encompassing actually stops me in my tracks. It freezes me. I'm not able to move forward.
So here's a grown-up example that may help shift perspective just a little bit. I'd finished my PhD. I was working at the University of Wollongong in the Illawarra Institute for Mental Health. I was working academically, writing research papers, lecturing in the School of Psychology. I'm a full-grown adult with a mortgage, and at the time we had 5 of our 6 kids. And I decided that I wanted to start a business. So
And let's just acknowledge you had no idea how to start a business. You had no idea what that would look like. You had no idea how you were actually going to make it all work.
No, but I knew people who had done that sort of thing before, and I figured that it could be done, and I had a PhD. So if I could get a PhD, I could figure out how to run a business. There's plenty of people without PhDs that are running
I'm
businesses.
just painting the picture. You weren't an expert in being a business owner.
No, but I guess what I'm highlighting here is we've got an 8-year-old who he knows what's on the other side of the house. He knows how to get there, but it still feels frightening. So I'm a grown-up, and I'm about to take on a huge amount of financial risk by saying I'm quitting my stable, secure job in academia, and I'm going to start trying to generate my own income off my own bat, doing my own thing. And I remember ringing my dad and just explaining the situation. And I said, Dad, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know how to do this. I'm pretty nervous. I didn't use the word anxiety, but it fits with the theme of what we're talking about today. And this is coming back to the idea that resilience is relational. I said to Dad, if this fails, is it reasonable for me to ask you, could my family come and live with you guys? Like, can we move to the Central Coast? Dad's got a really big garage with a sort of it's not self-contained, but there's a bedroom-ish, I don't know, a storage area underneath the garage that he could use as a place to live. And I just said, could we come and squeeze into the house, into the garage? Could we somehow try to make this work? And assuming the business doesn't work. And Dad just said, no, you're not going to live in my garage. You can live in my house. And of course, I'm here for you. Go start the business. It's what you want to do. I believe in you. I think you can do it. And even if you can't, I'm here for you. And I was able to take that step, obviously with your support and with my dad's promise that financially he would support us if need be. He never needed to do that. But I was able to do the quote unquote independent thing, the quote unquote resilient thing, but I was not doing it on my own. I was doing it knowing that I had a backstop. I had a safety net. I had somebody who was in my corner. Well, I had multiple people who were in my corner who wanted to see me succeed. And when I think about this little 8-year-old guy who we want to help to become resilient and independent, the best way for him to become resilient and independent is to know that somebody's got his back, that if he falls, someone's going to catch him, that there's that safety net there. And if going to the other side of the house, going to his bedroom feels a little intimidating, a little bit difficult, how much time and how much disruption does it really make in your day to walk with him? My guess is it's 20 or 30 seconds out of your day. And it's an opportunity to hug him and high-five him and maybe bit by bit to help him to stretch and say, well, I'll walk to the end of the corridor here and I'll watch you as you go into the room. I'm not going to go all the way because you're 8 years old now and I believe in you. Or maybe you just go all the way because that's what makes him feel comfortable right now. I guarantee that when he's ready to start dating, he's going to say, I can do this on my own. You can say, son, you're not allowed to date until you can leave the house on your own and take that romantic interest to the place that you'd like to without me. Okay, and he's going to develop. So this is about trust. This is about trusting in his intrinsic developmental trajectory. He's going to get there. So they're my initial thoughts. After the break, 4 developmentally useful ideas that are going to help you to navigate this situation, because the reality is it is sometimes inconvenient when your children have things that they're afraid of, things that are increasing their anxiety that you find inconvenient. Stay with us. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, please like, share, and rate and review the podcast. It helps other people to find the pod and make their families happier. Okay, Kylie, I've got a couple of things that I reckon we can do to help with these fears that Emily's son is expressing. What about you?
As you've been sharing, and especially your experience about your dad and just how instrumental that big leap of faith was in that, that poignant moment in our lives, and how your dad's faith in you gave you the courage to actually take that big leap, that massive leap. And I'm thinking about the experiences that we've had with the kids, and I'm a bit like that 8-year-old boy. I've got some really big irrational fears myself, and the kids have watched me over the years as I have grappled with them. And I've talked about them on the podcast from time to time. I really, really hate, going to the theme parks and going on those big scary rides. And I hate jumping off rocks into bodies of water. And it doesn't have to be a very high rock either. Like, it really stresses me out. But the one thing that I have always strived to do with my kids is to acknowledge my fears and then show them that I'm willing to face them. And so there are some really big moments in time where the kids will have recognised me in a very, very fearful stump, jumping out of a plane. That was a big moment. But I did it. And in most cases, I was grateful that I did it, but there were a few times where I wasn't grateful that I did it. And I was able to talk to them through that process as well. I think our example and our willingness to actually be human with them and let them know that we have our own fears, different to theirs, but we are working towards facing them as well, is a really powerful teaching tool for our kids.
Yeah, I like
so they
it.
know they're not on their own.
I like it a lot. Let me go through a couple of other things that I think are going to be useful scientifically. Secure attachment, which seems to be something that this kid is really craving. When a child feels really securely attached, that's when they start to explore. And exploration literally becomes the natural byproduct of that secure attachment. If he's feeling insecure, then he runs back to that secure base. This is what we call attachment theory. And my sense is that we need to help him to feel secure. That's first and foremost. He's only 8. He's still got his L plates on. He is a little kid. He's a learner at this point. So my 4 ideas are, number 1, go with him. If you want him to go somewhere and he's showing some concern, just go with him. Be compassionate. Go with him. It's not going to be a big impact in your life, and he will appreciate it. And eventually he'll be like, you don't need to come with me anymore, Mum. It might take a while, but he'll get there. Second thing, I wouldn't be praising. I wouldn't be making a big deal when he does something on his own. If you make too big of a deal of it, what starts to happen is that, number 1, it implies that he's wrong for wanting support from you. Number 2, it encourages him to try to please you and ignore his own discomfort. And I don't know that that's going to be the healthiest way forward. Number 3, trust the developmental timeline. He is going to figure it out. Eventually he'll get there. And number 4, I'm just throwing this out there as a possibility. Maybe there are some underlying causes. I doubt it. I think that this is, it's probably not aligned with the norm, but I wouldn't say that it's atypical. I'd say that this still falls into the range of developmentally typical behavior. It's certainly on the less common side, but it still fits within parameters of something that's not that unusual. Bottom line for me is safety through presence. That's what we're looking for here. He's probably saying I need more connection, not less connection. And as we've already said, and as you stole my favorite, my end line for this one, he needs to be able to do it before he can date. And I don't think you're going to have any problems there. And when you put it in that perspective, it takes the pressure off you because he's got at least another 6 or 7 years. And I just don't know too many 14 and 15-year-olds who are saying, Mum,
walk me to my room.
Walk me to my bedroom, please. Hey, Emily, thanks so much for the question. We really hope that this helps. If you have a tricky question that you'd love to ask us, you can send your email, your voice note to podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au. That's podcasts with an S at happyfamilies.com.au. Anything about family, relationships, well-being, social media screens, discipline, you name it. Ask us anything. We'll talk about it on the pod. Or you can go to happyfamilies.com.au and just use the really super simple system there. Press the button, start talking, and we will get your voice message. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides research, admin, and other support. And tomorrow on the podcast, I can't wait for this one, a conversation with a guy who's just written this really, really smart book about helping kids to go further, do more, and be more than they've thought that they could be. Lenore Skenazy, the author of Free Range Kids and the founder of the Let Grow movement, put me in touch with Chris, and we're going to chat tomorrow about his new book and how we can help kids to be resilient and do some of the things that Emily's indicated today that she'd like her 8-year-old to step into. That's tomorrow on the Happy Families podcast. Talk to you then.